Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the world is waiting. Move along to the song, singing in your soul. Feel the beat, clap your hands, let's take control. All you need, all you want, are you ready to find your way? 'Cause every day is a new day.
Hello and welcome to Wisconsin Family. I'm Justin Riley.
And I'm Jessa Jeremiah, and I'm so excited to be sitting here with you, and we've got a wonderful show for you all today, and I can't wait.
We have a great show. We're sitting here at the Model Smart Home, part of J&K Security Solutions over on South Park Street in Madison.
Yes.
And I always get so excited when I know it's time to film here because there's so many cool things to look at. It's staged nicely, and everything is automated.
Yeah, and for folks out there, if you haven't been in here yet, you may have even driven by it many times and not realized. It's a little bit tucked away on Park Street.
It's kind of behind the Arby's on Park Street.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. So get a sandwich and then check out the smart home.
Go check out the smart
That's
home.
right.
Absolutely. So we're going to be talking with those guys a little bit later about the way that security and home security has evolved over the years. They've been here
Boy,
for
has
30
it.
years now.
Yes. One of my favorite things about these folks is that this is a family-owned and very family-involved, locally owned security
Yes.
business, and might be the only of its kind in this area. So many are, you know, when you're working with a security company, you're calling a big company and hoping to get a real person, and this is a very different organization in terms of just really being able to talk to real people.
Yeah, it's nice. And we work with a lot of local folks. And one of the folks that we are going to be talking with later in the show is Trinity Financial, John Shear. He always gives us some great advice for financial planning. So
Absolutely.
We're looking forward to that.
And if you remember the days of Tybo from the 90s, we're going to give you an update there too. Martin Gilio Martial Arts will be with us talking about their incredible kickboxing class. It's very different from the days of old. That'll be next here on Wisconsin Family, so stick around.
'Cause every day is a new day.
Hey folks, welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We are sitting here in the J&K Security Smart Home.
Yes.
And we're going to talk to those folks in just a little bit about how you can get a smart home and about how some of the technology has obviously changed over the years, has it not?
Absolutely.
So we're going to do that in a little bit. Another thing that has changed over the years is we went from Tybo in the 90s to some other forms of martial arts that have become much more popular. And joining us is Chris Martingilio from Martingilio Martial Arts, and we're so glad to see you.
Oh, thank you.
How are you? So we are going to be talking about a kickboxing class that you have, and I'm really excited to talk about this class. And now, Tybo is something probably lots of folks remember from the 90s.
Yeah, they do.
Is your class anything like that?
No, nothing like that. The
Okay.
Tybo class was an aerobics class with martial arts in it. My class is a martial arts class that we do core exercises, push-ups, and so the focus is the martial art training itself is the aerobic exercise.
Okay, so I like that distinction. That was an aerobics class that had, you know, some elements of martial arts.
Yes.
This is martial arts training.
This is real martial arts training.
But you get a workout too,
Right.
by default.
Well,
right?
boxers are ripped. And if you've actually seen them, guys, it's their training. That
Mm-hmm.
It's full body all the time.
Right,
So if you're taught right how to do that training, it is a phenomenal workout.
Yeah, absolutely. Agreed.
So, do you use any equipment in any of these workouts?
We've got heavy bags hanging from the ceilings. We have floor bags that are 6 foot tall to kick and punch. Speed bags. I mean, we have all the boxing equipment. We use medicine balls, but most of the exercises are natural body weight exercise. The rest of it is the striking equipment that a boxer or a kickboxer would use, which just makes it a lot of fun because there's a lot of variety in the class with the use of different equipment.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. So it's using your body weight in a lot of these. So the term throwing your weight around really
A little bit,
means
yeah, it
something
does mean
in this,
something.
in this context. So talk to us a little bit about the learning curve. Is it tough for a beginner to do this? How long does
Yes.
it take to learn these exercises?
The minimum length of time I'll actually take a student is a year.
Okay.
You know, so for my students, they're all dedicated to at least that amount of time. Most people, when they join a class, I'll try this. How long does it last? Maybe a month, maybe two. I make them commit to a year because it takes time to not only learn the routines, but to also good form. I've got a guy that's been training with me for over 15 years that's still learning good form and still learning exercises. And so, you know, there's not a stop point in this kind of a class where you're going to get bored.
Sure. So you're always learning things
You're
and mastering things
always
and
learning.
correcting your technique and all those things.
That's the
going
value of
forward.
having me in there for that amount of time, is that
Right.
you have a constant coach that's looking at your physical well-being so that you have that good form so you don't hurt yourself during a workout.
Oh, that's fabulous.
I think it's so incredible how you ask people to commit to 1 year, a minimum of 1 year, and that way you really get the dedicated people, the ones who say that, hey, I really want to do this.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
Those people are actually locked in a class, but now we've got a group of people who know that every week the same people are going to be in class.
Yeah.
We're creating a community of people that are working out together. We're creating some partnerships with people that are having some goals that they'd like to keep, and so maybe that person over there helps to push them. So they'll do core work with them, or so there's a lot of relationships that are created in that amount of time that I can't do if I just have an open door class like most health clubs have.
Right.
Sure. Well, and I like the idea of that too, because there's probably a point somewhere in the beginning months where you're thinking, gosh, I don't know if I can do this. This is really challenging. And to get over that hump and kind of continue through the year, it almost kind of forces you in a way, but in a good way, to see it through and to feel good and be in a good place.
Most
with
people,
it.
the first thing is, a year, I don't know. But then after a while I start realizing I've had some of the same students for 8, 10, 15 years.
And what keeps people coming back that long?
The variety in the class is huge. I mean, there's no same class. Every day it's a little bit different. But it's the learning, it's the understanding about what the art was actually for. Boxers are not stupid people. They're actually really smart. And the body mechanics that have to come into play with that are for our health and well-being. And so it's interesting to see the science behind what appears to be just a sport.
Right.
But it's not.
And then it becomes a habit and a part of your life.
Right.
And I think that's really key. So I
Right.
like that. Let's talk a little bit about some of the real world applications in terms of your classes and your teachings.
Sure.
Are you explaining those sort of real world applications during the teaching, or is it more in the context of the sport? How does that work?
We definitely want to teach why we're doing the things. So we have primarily it's a lot of women in the class. And so, I have to teach why they're going to use that kind of particular punch, because in the event something happened to them, we're teaching them how to really hit somebody.
Right.
You're not going to get hit in my class. Never going to put you in that position where you feel like you got to get hit. But I will work closely with them, and we'll show where the body parts are that we're actually striking and why that targeting is important. So then you can actually visualize while you're actually working on the bags that this is a real person.
Right. I think that part is really smart, because just to know the move isn't enough. You have to be able to place yourself in that mindset of, okay, what would I actually do in an attack?
In an attack, right.
Because you're going to be scared. It's going to be under different circumstances.
Right.
So to make sure that your teaching includes that knowledge.
Yeah, it does.
Super
Well, there's
important.
only, you can only do so much in a striking class. I mean, there's ground fighting applications or stand-up applications, so within context. But then what happens a lot of times, those people want to come to me for other classes, and we do special classes for them as well, because they're starting to learn that interest is peaked. Show me more.
Right.
yeah.
Oh, this is great. Thanks so much, Chris, for sharing this with us. We really appreciate it. This is Chris Martingilio from Martingilio Martial Arts. We've got more Wisconsin Family for you after the break, so stay right there.
'Cause every day is a new day.
Hey folks, welcome back to Wisconsin Family. We're here on location at the J&K Security Solutions Model Smart Home. What a
I
cool
know.
place this is.
I feel smarter already. How about you?
I don't. I'm sorry.
And we're about to get even smarter.
We are, because John Shear is in the house, and he always gives us a good education when it comes to financial planning. John, how are you?
Real good. Good to see you guys.
Glad to see you.
Happy New Year.
Yeah,
Happy
absolutely.
New Year,
I
yes.
feel like it's been a while.
It has been a little
Yeah,
bit.
a little bit. So, starting a new year, a lot of people make the resolution to get their finances in order. And so, for a lot of folks, a first step to that is hiring a financial advisor. What are some tips that you can provide for people who are looking to hire a financial advisor?
Sure, it can be difficult because everybody sort of sounds the same and you're not quite sure like what you're looking for. So I think it's important to know if you're looking for somebody who's an investment advisor and you just want help with the investments you already have, or if you're looking for a financial planner, somebody who will give you some investment advice but then also talk about how much you should save and what your goals are for retirement or college planning or tax planning and those sorts of things.
Okay.
So sort of figure out what you want, and most people are looking for a financial planner that I see, that they want some other advice around the investments. And then if you're looking for that, I think one of the things to look for is somebody who's a certified financial planner. And that's, there's a lot of designations. You see people with business cards, and I've got a bunch of those designations, but the CFP is really the one where it's sort of the gold standard. That's what I would look for if I weren't, doing what I do.
Okay.
CFP being the gold standard.
That's
as you
right.
said. Okay.
Sure.
That's right. Good advice.
So that helps us kind of narrow down and sort through all these different folks that are out there. Any other advice you can give us in terms of just looking for somebody for help?
Right, and so when you get to a point where you find, hey, I want financial planning help, and so we're going to look, and we've got some people that are CFPs. The other thing I think that you want to have is somebody who's working in your best interest. And people look at, you see the commercials, and it seems like, oh, everybody's looking out for their client's best interest. But in reality, there's two different types. The fee-only people are what's called fiduciaries. It's a fancy legal term meaning that they've got to act in your best interest. And many of the people in the financial world are brokers, and they're function as salesmen. And it's useful if you know that, hey, I need some life insurance. I want to buy some in mutual funds, and to go to somebody who's selling you that. But if you want advice on that, you want to get it from somebody who doesn't have a dog in the fight, doesn't getting paid to make a sale of some sort, that they're just getting paid for the advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an important distinction to make. One's sort of more of a salesperson trying to get you sold on these types of things, and one is just guiding you to the right thing.
Right, and neither right nor wrong, but it's a matter of if you're looking for advice, there's one sort of person to go to. If you know what you want, I need to get some life insurance, I want to make some investments,
Sure.
To go to the salesperson.
Right, and now, you're considered a fiduciary then, right?
That's right.
Okay,
That's right.
So now, are there specific questions that if we find somebody who's a fiduciary who's supposed to act in our best interest, are there specific questions that we need to be asking that person when we go in for advice?
Yeah, and so one of the big questions is, are you a fiduciary, and are you willing to put that in writing and get that? Questions that I would ask if I were coming to a financial planner are, what type of clients do you work with? If so you want somebody who's got experience in your situation. If you're a state employee with the state pension plans, that's one level of expertise. If you're a retiree, looking to get into retirement, that's another thing. If you're a young family starting out with some of those other issues, so do you work with people like me? One of the other questions that you ask is how many times do you meet with people in the first year or in ongoing years, and you can kind of see, are they talking just about the investments, or is it sort of a holistic look at all the different things?
Okay.
So those are a couple of really good questions to ask.
Sure.
One kind of sneaky question is, what type of industry awards have you qualified for?
Oh, I
Because
like that idea.
you see some of these things, in $1 Million Roundtable is one in the life insurance world, and some other things. And what that means, it sounds, I'm the district qualifier for Diamond Club or something.
Yeah.
Typically, that means that they've made some sales goals.
Right. Yeah.
Which is good. But again, if I'm looking for advice and go, hey, you're the salesperson on things, just to make sure you're getting what you think you're getting.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Thanks for sharing this information with us. This is good.
So first question just being, are you a fiduciary?
That's really the big. That's a
start.
big
Yeah.
separator. And the other thing about questions is it's good to have some questions and some of these basic things. But when you sit and talk with somebody, they should be asking you questions.
Yeah.
If somebody, big red flag. If it's somebody, you sit down and I say, hey, Jessa, here's this investment plan, or here's what type of insurance you should be looking for. If I don't know what your goals are and what you're looking for and what's the purpose for
Right.
coming in and talking to us, right? You have different goals than Justin does,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Well,
And so it's not
finances
one
are
size fit all.
they're so individualized.
That's
So
right.
every person has a different set of circumstances and different family needs and so on and so forth. So really they should be kind of almost interviewing you in a way.
That's the feeling you should have, is are they trying to get to know me, or do they have the solution sort of pre-picked?
Right.
And that can be a real, it's kind of the gut feeling thing, but it's something to be in tune with before you talk with somebody.
No, that's a really important thing to mention. And I want to ask too about, what do you think about referrals? Because a lot of ways that I go about, talking to new businesses and new, when it comes to getting new things, acquiring new services, is did my friends use them and did they like them?
Sure.
What are your thoughts on that when it comes to finances?
That's a good way to start with things. Sort of the problem with that, though, is the work that we do in the financial world, you don't really see the results for years down the line.
Sure.
Right? I had some landscaping work done. I know what it looks like. I can see the
That's
results.
instant. Right.
Yeah.
And so I can see the experience with that. For most people, it's a long ways off. So it's good to get referrals to current clients, but anybody that's been in business for a while has got 3 clients that can say good things about them.
Sure.
One really important thing is to talk to other professionals. Can you give me, ask, can they give you a referral to another another CPA or another financial planner. I know the people that I'd go to if I weren't in the business.
Right.
You know, and I see a lot of other things that go on as opposed to that one experience that that my clients have.
Yeah, absolutely. John Scheer
good
from
tips.
Trinity Financial Planning, always
Thanks, John.
learning something here on Wisconsin Family with John Scheer. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks, you guys.
Don't go away. There's more Wisconsin Family coming up right after this. Stick around.
'Cause every day is a new day.
And welcome back to Wisconsin Family, and this is the moment we've been waiting for.
It is indeed.
We've been filming at the Model Smart Home, part of J&K Security Solutions here on South Park Street in Madison. And now we're going to talk to a couple of folks from the Model Smart Home here at J&K Security Solutions. I'm joined now by Tom Spinoso and Dan Tennyson. Welcome, guys.
Hi. Thank you.
Thanks for having us here.
Thanks for hosting us. You guys have been wonderful hosts.
Wonderful
we
hosts,
appreciate
yeah.
it.
So start out by give us a real brief history on how J&K Security Solutions got started.
Sure. J&K was started by Jeff and Kim Beckman, husband and wife, about 30 years ago. It's a family-owned and operated business. Jeff's brother has worked with the company from early stages, and Jeff and Kim's son and son-in-law are both involved in the company too.
Yeah.
It's been local to Park Street and just kind of evolved from what was a lock and key shop to offer more and more things, security, surveillance, card access systems, home automation, commercial doors, fire systems. We kind of do a lot under one roof.
And I
You
think
sure
that's so interesting, and I think that's so cool that they had, Jeff and Kim had the foresight to kind of keep up with the times and not just stay as, you know, a locksmith for 30 years. I mean, they
Sure.
really, really grew and evolved their business from there.
Yeah, well, things have changed a lot over the years, obviously, and this is our second time here, and I want to say to folks who are out there, we are on Park Street. You probably have driven by many times and not even realized that this smart home location is here. It's a little bit tucked away, but I definitely recommend coming in here because there are some very cool things to see. And Tom is the general manager. Dan, you're a system design consultant, so I think it's important to have you on, like we spoke about, because you're actually the one who's meeting with a lot of clients and in their homes, and so you may actually work with Dan directly. In your opinion, you know, talking a little bit about security's change over the years, talk to us a little bit about the evolution of security.
Well, I think you know, the need for security and the want for security to protect your family and your property has certainly been there for a long time and certainly hasn't decreased over time. I think what we've seen now is more and more devices and more pieces are geared towards the consumer to get security and protection into your home easily.
Right, and I like that you say easily, because that's the thing that I think is a hindrance for people, is they don't think they're going to know how to work the technology, or they think it's going to be, you know, such a huge inconvenience in their home to get it in there. But it's not anymore. It's not that tough.
Yeah, you know, when I was first learning about some of this stuff, I kind of pictured, you know, if I wanted to turn my home into a smart home, you'd have to rip down the walls and this and that.
That's what you think.
It's not invasive at all.
Right.
I mean, it's very, very easy to put in.
Thanks to a lot of the newer wireless technology, a lot of these devices, we simply come in and sort of plug them onto the wall and get them to communicate with one another. And so, you know, ripping down walls and running wires, some of that is still an important part of it in key areas, but most of it now can all be wireless today.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you know, we've been here at the Model Smart Home. What exactly is a smart home? What makes a home smart?
Well, a smart home really pulls together all the pieces of your home and puts them onto one single operating system. So whether that's home theater or TVs or sound throughout your home, lights, thermostat, security, surveillance, motorized shades, really all these pieces that could be in your home, the smart home puts it all together and puts it as one single system. It really kind of, I mean, part of it is just convenience of tying it all together to have one single system orchestrate everything.
Right. Yeah. And you've used the term before in talking to folks here about working smarter together. So talk to us about what that means. How is it smarter or better to have everything sort of centralized?
It really comes with a convenience. You can push a single button and a variety of things can happen. What that button push is or what that does for you in your home is different for everybody. But one common use that a lot of people like is to have like a good night button where at night they can push a button, whether it's a light switch or a button on their iPhone, and that button can turn off all the lights in their house, lock doors that are unlocked, make sure the garage door is closed, close that if it isn't closed, set the thermostat to whatever their thermostat temperature they would like it set at.
Oh, how great and
With one
convenient
button.
is
With
that?
one
Yeah,
button.
it's kind of like the
Yep.
oops button. Like how many
Yeah.
times do you get out of bed because you forgot to turn down the thermostat, and then you think, oh geez, did I lock the back door? And then you get back out and you check, and so it's kind of
Yeah.
a double check to save you all those trips
Yeah.
and make
Yep.
you feel secure.
I really think, it's about the convenience and everyday easy that kind of goes unspoken. Everybody talks about sort of the magic and the glitz, but when you have a smart home and you live with it day to day, the convenience and the comfort that it brings is really where it shines. It's the little things. When you come home, if it's dark outside, the system knows that you're pulling up. It might light the outside lights. It might light pathway into the home. Once you live with that and you know the house is going to light up when you come home and you don't have to be carrying groceries and hitting light switches, you get used to that. You want that technology. I mean, I kind of related to these automatic car windows today. In your car, if you just tap the button, they'll go all the way down. And when I get into a car that doesn't have that feature, it's like I hit the button and wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
You get used to those
Right.
things, and it really makes your life simpler and easier.
I
Yeah.
like that you touched on that because I always have found this study so fascinating. There's a study out that says it's the things like that, the day-to-day conveniences versus inconveniences, that actually play the biggest role in a person's happiness.
Yeah.
And so it's actually not necessarily the big things that you think are going to
The
make you
subtleties.
happy.
Right.
It's the
It
little
really
things.
is the little things.
It's interesting,
Wow.
yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up, Jess.
Tom did.
Well, there you go. So
Yeah.
if I wanted to start converting my home into a smart home, how do I get started? I mean, it's not an all or nothing approach.
No.
I can do it little by little.
For sure. Yeah, a lot of times it starts with one smart device, whether that's a thermostat or light switches or a lighting system. It's really easy to get smart products. The garage door openers, a lot are being sold now with the ability to control those through an app. So it can start with one piece and grow to as much as you want to take it.
Okay, and that's nice to know too for folks who are, maybe thinking about cost and budgeting and things. So you don't have to go all or nothing.
Yeah, and the big thing too that we should point out is the technology has really, the barrier to entry is so much less than what it was a few years back. I mean, it's just so many of these devices already have that technology built in that you get started.
Those are the two hindrances, I think, for people out there. One is price, like we were just saying now, and then the other is assuming that your house is going to be essentially under construction.
Right.
And what you're saying is pretty much both of those things are much less of a factor these days than they used to be. So I think that's really nice. In just a few seconds, we got to go almost, but just in your thoughts, why do you think J&K is the best place to get started with a smart home?
I think, with our roots of being a local family-owned business here for 30 years, we've known to take care of our customers for a long time, and that's really something we stand behind. We have a great showroom here to show off the technology, and you can get a feel for it as you walk through the system.
Absolutely.
We really take an approach with our customers to specialize and make sure that we're doing everything we can for every one of our customers.
Well, and it's a locally owned security solution, and that's what's so very rare. And thank you so much for sharing all this great stuff with us.
Thank you.
Tom Spinoso and Dan Tennyson from J&K Security Solutions, thank you so much. That's all the time we have for Wisconsin Family. We'll see you next time.
Every day is a new beginning. Shine your light. It's a day and the